everybody, and welcome back to the Anchor of the Week, where we have hard conversations, hear people's stories, and challenge perspectives. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Zach.
And we are back here on the streets.
Boom. Look at the sun.
It's
a glorious
yeah.
day.
Spring
We're
has
buzzing.
finally come to London, and hopefully that will mean people are a bit more
Up for it.
warm, open, ready for a chat.
Warm hearts, warm weather.
Some might say that. I've never heard
Yeah.
anyone say that. But
Yeah,
Zach
you
did.
just said it here.
But guys, we are back on the streets to ask questions. We're still in our Upend the Trend series,
Yes.
so we're kind of going down that route today.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited about this. Basically checking in to see where people get their media from, how they consume media, and some little
And
poking questions.
what is trending in their lives?
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
Anyway, we're excited.
Let's see what the people have to say.
Hopefully we got some good people, but
Let's check it out. Ladies, I have a quick fire question for you. Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. Where do you get your news from today?
I don't know.
Do you guys look at the news at all?
Sometimes I have an app that comes with news here.
Okay. What app is that?
TV2.
Tivital. And you guys are from Denmark. That makes so much more sense. Okay. So what if I ask you then what's trending in the world, or even just for you guys, like what is trending on your social media or news, things like that? What would be like one of the first things that come to your mind? It could be something to do with like someone you follow or celebrities or anything. Literally just what is popular on your news feed.
I don't know. No. I don't know.
Okay. Well then, that's great. Thank you so much for your time. Excuse me, mate. Where do you get your news from today?
What?
Where do you get your news from today?
I don't get no news, my friend.
You don't look at the news.
No, I don't have Wi-Fi.
You don't have Wi-Fi.
No internet, yeah.
Even when you're at home.
Oh, in your home, yeah. I watch.
Do you look at the news at all?
Yes, in Israel.
Okay. So talk to me.
It's
Talk to me.
A lot of news.
Okay. So do you go on specific websites or specific things to look at the news?
I look in New 12. It's called New 12.
Right. Okay. And that just tells you what's going on in Israel.
Exactly.
Okay. So what if I asked you what's trending?
What is that
On trending is something that is, something that's popular on your news feed, or when you open up Instagram or any social media platform, or even just your phone, something's like hot that's like a lot of people are talking about. What's something that's trending that you know about?
In my country? Sure. It's only about the war in Palestine, in Israel. It's a lot of people. It's hard in Israel, guys, like bombs and the shooting and everything. It's the hot thing in the news, yeah, unfortunately.
Do you ever see things like in the outside of Israel? Look at the news and things like that.
No, yeah.
Do you mind me asking how come?
Where I come?
Like how come you don't look at the world news? You only look at Israel's news, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like why?
I don't know. Is that like just like that?
Yeah. Because the thing is, we're doing a series on like what's trending and kind of what almost feeds our feed. Like how do we see what we see? Like where does it come from? How is it influenced? And so we're just asking questions like, oh, do people only look in certain places because they want to see what's relevant for them, or is it something that you guys are like looking out and searching for and things like that? But so what about outside of news? Let's put news aside then. Is there anything else that is trending that is
I don't see something like this.
just the news?
Exactly.
Brilliant. Oi, thank you so much for your time, mate. Oi, yeah, thank you. Love that, mate. Nice one. Excuse me, miss. Where do you get your news from today?
Instagram.
Okay. And what's trending on the news or Instagram today?
I won't lie. It's like I haven't been paying too much attention today just because it's like I went and met up with a friend earlier. So.
I mean, it could even be like that.
Like, what's trending today? I'm trying to remember off the top.
Just things that you're like, oh, this is something that's really popular and hot topic right now.
I mean, for me, it's like I guess Finland entering NATO.
Okay.
That happened this week.
Right. So is that the first thing you think of when you think trending is like it's like big news, like political stuff, or do you ever think even like the smaller like daily, like I don't know, could be like gossip or on celebrities or things like that?
Whatever kind of comes up, you know. I think there was the guy that created the Cash App got stabbed in San Francisco.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you got that through
A mugging.
Right.
Instagram again.
Right.
Follow some news stations. Try to keep up with at least something. So.
Do you ever go on like any news apps to find out more, or is it more just kind of Instagram's like your kind of go-to source?
I mean, I'll start with Instagram, and then if it's something that's interesting, I'll go to the links to look up more, or look up other links after the fact once I see something that looks interesting. So,
Boom. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Okay, team, I'm with John here. Thank you so much for coming on, John. First of all, where do you get your news from today?
So I try and look at a range of sources. If I'm reading the newspaper, it will be like online. It'll be something like The Guardian, Independent. I'll try and get back to the original source. So often like Reuters are quite good. They're quite reliable. I will like pick up the Metro, Evening Standard, something like that, and BBC as well.
So do you ever use social media platforms, or even not even just social media, but like apps, like news apps and stuff like that as well?
I don't actually use news apps, and I wouldn't get my news from social media.
I love this. Okay, so how come? Why not?
Well, I mean, I would follow links, but I wouldn't just say because someone has written something that's news. I would look at the links, what is the website, and then if it's not a website I understand, that I know of, then I'll look at the sources for that link so I can actually get to the bottom of it.
So you're literally stripping the layers back every time you read something, basically.
Yeah, I mean, every newspaper company or every broadcaster has bias, and I want to know what the bias is. Are they right wing? Are they left wing? And then I want to get to the original source. It's not saying that bias is always. I mean, it's natural. I mean, it's not good having bias, but it's natural. If it's something, a cause you believe in, you're going to have a bias. But I want to get to the original source.
And is there anything you've noticed in terms of what we do consume on the social media platforms or whatever it is, news apps and stuff like that? Have you noticed any like patterns or anything like that, or even things like kind of the importance of what's being brought up, like?
So. Yeah, I think there's a lot more move towards, certainly in the last few years since Greta Thunberg has been on, there's a lot more stuff on the environment. So I listen to BBC Radio 4 sometimes. There are a lot of questions about the environment, a lot more about animal welfare, about veganism. I think a lot more people are thinking about where their food comes from, are thinking about its impact on the environment, and how what they buy is directly causing animals to suffer, and they're supporting those industries by paying for it. I think that's certainly among young people. I've noticed that. I think my generation, when I was at uni, that wasn't a huge thing, but now among people in 18 to 21, they're worried about what the planet's going to be like. They're very aware of through things like Seaspiracy, Cowspiracy, Dominion. They're very much more aware of what happens to animals, and the fact that if you buy that product, more animals will suffer. And yeah, I think certainly it has opened there. Even things like YouTube, like my girlfriend, she the most impactful YouTube video she watched was Dairy is Scary, which talks about the milk industry and how the calves are separated from their mothers, and then if they're male calves, they'll be killed, and then the mother cow, she will be milked until often she gets sores, and then when her udder's too big and she gets lame and in chronic pain, she'll be killed. And that overnight, watching that made her vegan. And I think if social media hadn't been there, if there hadn't been things like YouTube, when I was growing up, the closest thing I got to that was, I think, Jamie Oliver had a thing on battery farms, showing the conditions and how fast-growing breeds are bred to grow so fast, their poor bodies can't support their weight, and they often struggle to walk and stand.
So basically, social media can play a role in helping us almost be able to see things from a better light.
I think social media plays a massive role. I think a lot of people get their, won't even look at news sites. They will look at social media. I think, it's important to be aware, though, that you are kind of in a social media bubble sometimes.
And there's an algorithm to it as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I purposely, if I'm on social media and I'm just getting lots of kind of left-wing stuff or environmental, I've got some right-wing friends and I will look at their stuff. I mean, I very rarely agree with it, but I want to hear the other side. I always want to, if I have a very left-wing article, I want to, and that's the only way you can, the only way we can really make informed decisions and get our news is by looking at both sides and by thinking about and doing our research. And that's what I did when I became vegan. It was very much I watched a Dominion program, and then I did some research. I looked at some journals, and I looked at what the other side was saying. And we can't make informed choices, and one, we need to do our own research. We can't be blind. There's no excuse now. We know there are videos, there is information out there, and if we're going to make informed choices about the way our decisions, how it affects on the environment and animals, the information is there.
That's great, mate. John, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Hi, ladies. Quick question for you. Where do you consume news from? Where do you find news these days?
Social media.
Yeah, specifically? Or?
I don't know, maybe Facebook's probably, that's the most common one.
Do you ever find yourself looking at other sources at all, or is it just kind of okay what you see is?
Well, just right now, the news, that's just the Google news, based off my phone, that's just popped up. I was just looking at it right now.
That is actually perfect timing. Yeah. So, honestly, if I were to ask you, okay, what's trending in the world right now? That could be current events, social media. What are the first things that you think about?
Oh, God. I wouldn't know, to be fair. I try not to get involved with it. Yeah.
And
stay away from it.
And why is that?
No. I don't really want to get in stuff that you don't really understand. I think if I was having I'd want to have an opinion about something. Right. So if
do you find that sometimes?
I have no idea, so I wouldn't even get involved in that. So you know.
Right. Do you find that it's not accessible? Right. You said you don't even want to get involved in politics. Is that because you feel before you get involved you have to know about it?
Yeah, I feel like I do. Yeah. I don't want to be you don't want to really get into a conversation you know nothing about. Yeah. So you'd rather have the knowledge before you get into it.
Yeah, that is so interesting because that is exactly what we are trying to fight against, is the fact that you can have conversations and even if you don't know anything about it, but that's the only way that we learn. So that's very
I suppose you could, but then that's educational then. You're learning. Yeah. Yeah, you can have a conversation and learn. Yeah.
But if you don't feel like you can in a conversation, that makes a big difference, right? If you feel like you're going to be...
Depends who you're talking to as well. Yeah. If that person is able to... Yeah.
Do you ever find that you and your friends talk about things going on in the world, or not even?
No, not really. No, not to be honest. I think we'll all have the news is on at work, and I suppose we'll put our 2 pence in and we'll have our opinion. But
what do you do for work, if I may ask?
Work at the ambulance service.
That's so interesting. Okay, because you were in the news quite recently, right? I mean, not you personally, but the
rise and stuff. Yeah.
So how do you think that news exposure, how has that affected your specific industry?
Well, I mean, if we get the pay rise, then it's affected in a positive way, I guess. But if not, then I suppose not much really.
That is so interesting. Well, thank you so much for your time. Yeah, awesome. Excuse me, ma'am, where do you get your news from today?
Oh, Anchor of the Week, obviously.
Ladies, question for you. Where do you consume your news these days? What sources do you get your news from?
Social media.
Any social media in particular?
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah. Do you ever go beyond that, or is that just kind of where...
That's where it starts, and then if it's interesting, then I'll research it.
Yeah, we've been getting that answer a lot. What do you think it is about social media itself that makes news more accessible?
Because it's right on time. It comes as soon as it comes out. It shows up in my news feed, my alerts, and it makes me click on it.
It's when Kobe died, I learned about it on Instagram before I learned about it on the news.
Yeah, because it's so fast, right? But then, do you then continue to care about things after social media stops showing you it? You know what I mean? The news cycle is so fast. Do you find it hard to keep interested in something if Instagram's already showing you something new?
Depends on what it is. If it's something I really care about, I'm gonna follow up on it.
Anything to add to that?
Yeah, it just depends on what it is. If it's something I really want to know, I'll keep track of it. But if it's just for the moment, it's what it is.
Great. Thank you so much, ladies. That was awesome.
Okay, so those were our interviews on the streets of Camden on Easter.
It is Good Friday.
On Good Friday, yeah. That's what I was listening. Yes, Easter Friday.
Yeah, so because of that, honestly, it was a different streets episode for us.
It was, yeah.
A lot of people visiting, a lot of people out and about because the weather was so beautiful.
Yeah.
But because of that, it was harder to get people to actually have conversations. We got so many, either ignored, but
Yeah. Anyway, that's standard as per. But also there was a lot of tourists today, and a lot of people traveling from honestly different countries and different areas of even England. So I think they were just kind of, let me just crack on with my day and
or what is this?
enjoy.
We're used to the
Yeah,
concept.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but even with that, there were some really good points I think brought up. Or for me, like if I was to summarize everything, I do find it very interesting that a lot of people admitted to not caring really about the news.
Yeah.
That they're like content to get their news off social media, which I like isn't a bad thing. Like that's where I do also, I would maybe not get my news, but are informed.
Yeah.
Of, like what's going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I just kind of got this overall sense of like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. I think for me it was more like, because I'm just thinking back of the lad who from Israel, and he obviously was just very focused on the things that he was like that's going on in his country almost, and it makes complete sense. And I don't know what it made me realize, but it made me kind of think a little bit more about like, okay, obviously he's more focused and not actually he is intentional with what's going on over there, and then obviously we're going to be more concerned about what's going on over here. But it's almost like, I guess, where is the element of like the bigger picture of like, should I be as invested as he is in what's going on over there? Yeah, and he was very intentional about kind of like he would go on the news to see what is happening with this specifically as well, and it was something that he actually like looked into a lot more with his own initiative.
Right. But I think it's because he had that emotional connection to it, which is not bad. I mean, it's good. You know
It
what
is
I mean?
good, yeah.
Obviously keep up to date.
Yeah.
But then it like leads us to the question that we've been asking over like the past few episodes as well is, what happens if our emotions aren't necessarily invested? Do we still care? Like.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know?
Right.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. But something that actually really stood out to me was the one lady that I was talking to, and I was asking if her and her friends like ever talk about like basically current events or whatever in the news, and she says no. And her main reason was because like if you don't know what you're talking about, like feeling so uneducated, you don't want to have like a wrong opinion or a misinformed opinion.
Yeah.
And honestly, that made me so sad. Like, as you guys know, this is why we have this podcast. Is
Yeah.
to have the hard conversations.
Yeah.
And to create the space where you can feel like you can maybe admit you don't know very much.
Yeah.
And not feel like bad about it, you know,
Yeah.
like growing and learning. And she literally admitted that she doesn't feel like she really has that space.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting. So like, not only, okay, like, are we aware of how we're consuming the news, but that really made me think like, okay, these trending topics, these things that are going on in the world, are we even doing our part in like creating a space where we can talk about them?
Right.
You know, like yeah, we sit there and we can talk about things that we've seen that we want to be trending or that we think, you know, deserve like that quote unquote spotlight.
Yeah.
But like, are we intentional with building that with our friends? You know, because if we go and we talk about the Iranian schoolgirl, you know, poisoning.
Yeah.
Like, would someone feel excluded from that conversation because they hadn't read about it yet?
Right,
you know?
right.
Like, how do we, when we want to bring up these untrending topics, do it in a way that actually feels inclusive?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And we were chatting to the lad who was a big fan of the vegan gig.
Okay, they came up to us,
Yeah,
basically.
that was the
They were
original.
chatting to us, and
Yeah.
I could just see you when you decided, like, no, I have to ask him to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
This conversation's over, and he's going to be on the pod.
Yeah, it was really funny. Basically, a bit of context, he was like asking me, he's like, so what do you think of dead animals, and what do you think of this, and what do you think of that? And look, whatever side you're on with this, I just enjoy my meat. So I am, yeah. And we are. But obviously, the way animals are treated, obviously that didn't look good, to be fair to them. But anyway, he was like,
But we love seeing someone passionate about
okay, we
us.
do. And also, what he was saying with his interview as well is the fact that, like, he does his own, you know, if there's a news article, he won't just take it for its face value. He won't be like, okay, that's true, I'm going to go and tell my friends about this. It's like, okay, where did this source come from? Are these people that he trusts? Like, he's actually gone and he'll, like, strip the layers back and, like, see if this is actually something that is factual. Or is it just social media being social media?
And I love that he brought that up too. Like,
Yeah.
he is like aware that he understands that what he sees is like not always going to be the truth.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I wasn't in the conversation, so I was staying behind, but from what I heard, you know, from it was basically like he is intentional about like interacting with people that have a different opinion, even though if he knows he's not going to agree with them.
Yeah.
But to like hear, you know.
Yeah.
And what did he say? He said everyone has a bias and like
Right. And it's important that we look at the other side of whatever position we stand as well.
And I like that he didn't expect people to be completely unbiased.
Yeah.
You know, because he said if you believe in something,
Right.
you're going to have a bias. And we want people to believe in things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Fair enough.
Fair.
Right?
He loved it. He went on a little bit about his the campaign they're doing and
Hey,
stuff
you know
like that.
what? We
Come
get him
on, why
camera,
not?
so
Yeah.
He was making the most.
He was, fair enough. And there was also that one girl who was talking about how she got her news from Instagram.
Yeah.
And
Twice. Or at least twice.
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, yeah, like, that's how I see what's going on. I thought that was nuts. I mean, it's true. Not to be like, hey, how dare you, but
No,
that's just where we're at,
that's
honestly.
the world that we live in. This
Right.
is how, like, as I said, like, first get my news, or like, okay, this is what I should be looking into.
Yeah.
And it really does make you think. You know, like, how are these platforms supposed to be used?
Yeah.
Right? Like.
Yeah.
And the same place where something could trend, like an audio, a funny audio could trend, also like a world event could trend.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
okay, that is good,
Yeah.
but was that what it was designed for?
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I didn't make Instagram. I can't
Yeah.
answer that. But, yeah. I don't know. It just makes
yeah.
you think, right? Like,
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So do you have a takeaway from this? I don't know if I have a takeaway. I think I like I have to admit, I think I do need to strip layers back more on what I read. Because, like, even if I take football as an example, man, there's so much gossip out there on, like, what players going to sign for what club and stuff like that. And if you just see something on, like, Lad Bible or something like that, you just take it. It is my favorite news source.
Yeah, I'm BuzzFeed too. I'm the worst.
But, like, you see that and you're like, oh, this player might go here. And then you, like, go tell your mates about it. And, you know, Daniel behind this camera, I'll go send him a story of it or something like that, and then it'll just be like, literally that's what happens.
And it doesn't happen?
Well, it just be like, this is not. So now I do have a trustworthy source. And if I ever see anything elsewhere, I'll always go to this guy and I'll just see if he's put it up, and then I won't. Fabrizio Romano,
there you go.
Italian proper ledge. And basically on his stories and stuff like that, he like puts all the what's going on. But he knows it. But okay, this is a huge sidetrack.
Hey,
But
I asked for this. Go for it.
but like even when there's like a gossip about a player moving to a club, there was like this one time this player tweeted, he's like, I don't know how this guy found out because even my dad didn't know. And he was like in a joke and like a fun way. He wasn't being like, how dare you, but it was like this guy, fair play. Anyway, yeah, and I was like, fair mate, he knows what he's doing, you know.
So check your sources is the moral of this conversation.
Anyway, that's my takeaway. Yeah.
I love that, and I agree with that. And I think, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the people that we also talked with, like they knew the right answer, but I was like, but.
They're just saying the right answer.
Yeah, you're just saying the right answer.
That's not what they actually do.
I know the right answer, and I just say the right answer.
Right.
To be this or that.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think actually, walking the walk and not just talking the talk.
Oh, hello. Okay, just sneak that in. Boom.
Anyway.
Yeah. Right, team. That was our chat on Easter, Good Friday.
On Easter, Good Friday. One day he'll learn. It's okay. Also, guys, fun fact: we've already been on this stump before in a previous episode.
Oh, we have. Yeah.
If you're a real OG fan of the Anchor of the Week,
You've seen us here before.
well, you'll know what the stump is.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thanks for joining us for another episode in the Upend the Trend series. We hope that you guys liked it, that you liked hearing from the people as we always do.
Yeah. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us at the Anchor of the Week, where we have hard conversations, hear people's stories, and challenge perspectives.
Remember, you can stay connected by following us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Hope these conversations are inspiring you to have hard convos as well.
We'll see you next time, and remember, attack topics and not people.